Okay, ready to go.
You broke your chin already.
This is episode 6 of British Strength Radio. We have Luke Richardson and Mark Macqueen back on again. Obviously, I couldn't get any other guests, so we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with these somewhat mediocre lifters. We had a little session today, didn't we? And I
showed us all up, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to show everyone who's watching a photo of Luke. So I'm going to come over. I'm going to show you a photo of Luke.
Just to kick it off, right?
So we're in Luke's house right now. That's how Mark has.
that's what Luke was. Oh no, I've got photos of Luke all over my house, mate.
All over your house.
Oh yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Instead of a mirror above the bed, I've just got a photo of Luke.
A shrine.
Yeah, I can see how that would work.
Well, I am your idol, mate. So
yeah.
you know. That's fine.
Okay, so
you know the saying, never meet your idols.
This is a powerlifting podcast. Let's get into some powerlifting related stuff. So, Luke, lots of stuff on social media and whatnot. You've said how you come in for that IPF World title, the Open one, which Ray Williams pretty much has his hands on right now. How's the prep for that and stuff all going?
Yeah, the prep for that's going okay. I've been struggling a bit with my back and hip. I haven't been able to squat really anything that would have exceeded my last competition until this week, and it's feeling good, touch wood. So hopefully that's me on for a good squat. In terms of beating Ray, this year, a bit too ambitious, I think. But that being said, I'm still in for a big PB total and some really big milestone lifts. So I can't complain at that, especially with kind of the last few months that I've had leading up to this have been a bit rough. So
right, okay. Has it just been the back and hip that's kind of
yeah? So over Christmas it was more just getting ill more than anything. I mean, I think I dropped about 5 kilos after Europe, just man flu twice and then got food poisoning and took a while to come back for it. The only lift that really wasn't coming back was my squats. Bench and deadlifts were going okay, but then obviously now the back and hip, it was about 6 weeks ago it started being a problem, and it's only now really I'm about 8 weeks out that I'm actually able to probably start pushing it again.
Okay. Do you have someone taking care of you in terms of physio? Do you have a good physio?
Yeah.
You?
So I've got a sponsor. I'm sponsored by a physio. It's called Mark Holmes, based all over kind of North Yorkshire. Really, used to work with Premiership football clubs, so the guy knows his stuff. So he's been looking after me along with Squat University. He's helped me out. Jimmy obviously has been kind of tailoring things a bit more to me, so it's kind of getting better. But no, I think we're pretty much nearly out of the woods now.
Okay, that's good. I mean, it's always good when you've got a team around you like that. Like some people maybe, like in Jimmy's case, some people might just kind of know about the programming aspect and not really know how to actually help you out of that situation. But obviously Jim is just super, super, super intelligent. So he's probably the best coach you could have, as well as having
definitely,
a physio and whatnot. So when is your next comp? What's the date? Where is it?
So next comp's IPF Worlds in June 15th, I believe, and that's in Sweden. So I've gone open early, 2 years early. I was due to kind of, I'm a junior till the end of 2020, but I figure, going up to the Open now is what's going to kind of push me to keep getting better.
Right.
So just kind of taking that jump a bit earlier.
Cool. Yeah. Obviously having more competition.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you want.
And it's not bad, if you've got people like Ray Williams to chase, you're going to probably end up in quite a good place at the end of it as well. So
of course, yeah. I mean, that's what it probably would take for someone like you to be pushed, because obviously you can end up as a big fish in a small pond. And,
yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure you don't want to get into that mindset.
No.
You're the type of person who wants to progress all the time.
Joseph Penner's buzzing.
Sorry. I don't know all these names, so you're gonna have to explain that one.
Do you want to explain, Mark?
No, you can explain.
Right. So Joseph Penner's basically just the guy who I beat last year in the juniors.
Okay. So he's not. It was Pavel, the Ukrainian guy, wasn't it?
Pavlo. Yeah.
Pavlo. So,
yeah. But he.
So Joseph Penner is
He's well. I think he's got the top nomination on the Junior 120 pluses now.
He's a UK guy.
No, he's American.
Oh right, okay,
Yeah.
okay, right. So he's basically happy to see you out of there.
I can imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. And what numbers are you looking at?
For Worlds, in terms of what were you going to say? Go on. What?
250 in the squat, 230 on the bench, and 400 in the deadlift.
Right, yeah, perfect. Yeah. No, probably more like depending how my hip goes. Like say on Monday, it felt great. I squatted 330 for 5, and it felt really easy.
You squat over 4.
Yeah, if I can turn my squat around to anything kind of 410 plus, I'll be extremely happy given the prep. Bench, I think I'll be capable of 232, 235, and then. I'm coming for a 400 kilo deadlift. Yeah. Like that's if there's any lift out of them 3 that I want to do, it's that deadlift. So,
yeah. I mean, like you say, last time it was at 385, and it was literally grip, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Everything in your training has looked to been going up really fast. With all your rep sets that you're doing at the minute on deadlifts, and I think 400 kilo, could definitely happen.
Yeah, so then that'll put me about 1040 ish total wise.
So. What's going back to Ray? What's he at now?
Ray, he's like 1110 or something, up around there.
But you've got to think at the same time, you are like, as much as you can push yourself, you are still young. Do you know what I mean? So it can happen, mate. And
well, he's had a lot of years under a barbell. Do you know what I mean? A lot more than me, anyway. Not saying that's an excuse, But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was a tall order, and I think, to be honest, if I'd have had maybe the first 4 months or the first 5 months come a bit easier to me, I think I could have maybe been contesting for it, to be honest. Yeah. If I'm going to finish, this prep around 1040, 1050, imagine what I could have done with another solid 4 months. But and
as well, mate,
could have, should have.
It depends what happens on the day. You don't know that he's going to go there and hit a PB total. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know that. You could have a great day. He could have he might not have his perfect day, and you could still beat him. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's over till.
I mean, originally that's what I was banking on, to be honest, because I think Ray last Worlds did 1080, but then he's done 1070s and stuff like that. So I was kind of banking on being around the 1070 mark for Worlds, and then hopefully, 1070. If he, has a big fuck up in terms of performance, then maybe I'd have been able to snatch it. But I think kind of now he's too far gone. For now, but that's not to say that he never will be.
Anything can happen. I've
got a ton of questions. Do you want to go through them?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have much time here, really, do you? On this particular podcast?
I've got about 10 minutes.
You've got about 10 minutes, right, Mark? Let's start with the questions. Right. I will, however, say that if we're just wasting our time with a question, we're going to have to move on to the next one. It's because there are some questions there and they're just absolute trash.
Mark Macqueen's rapid fire questions. Go.
Right. How many days a week do you train? I think you meant. And are those days squat, bench, deadlift days?
Mark, you start off.
Right. 4 training days. I'll answer this for me and Luke. 4 training days, 2 squat. 1 stroke, 2 deadlift, 3 to 4 bench. Right, boring question. Moving on.
Oh my god!
How do you overcome an injury? Let your body heal it. Moving on. For Mark, what's it like being so handsome? It's very hard. There's a lot of demand. For Luke, what's it like?
Hold on, Mark. Do you want to tell us who actually asked that question?
No.
Okay, then who asked it?
My girlfriend.
Oh.
For Luke, what's it like being so hideous?
Well, it's hard work maintaining this level of hideousness, to be honest.
Yeah. I'd still shag you, so it doesn't matter. Moving on. Did you break the tripod to Mark? Yes. Who would win in an oil wrestling match, Mark or Luke?
Me.
Okay, so
hold on. I personally think now, because of your extracurricular activities,
yes,
that I think you probably would probably surpass Luke in an oil wrestling match?
I've got two. I've got two answers. One, if we're actually serious, we both know what happened. And two, I don't think we'd actually get to an end. You can use your imagination on that.
I definitely agree with that one. It would, yeah.
Ask Mark how he's like being British just to piss him off.
You don't like you can extrapolate the questions.
You can add
to the point.
extra words to make them make sense.
Grammatical.
No,
and spelling mistakes.
I'm going to basically embarrass the people because their grammatical errors are atrocious. Well, I mean, I am British, so yeah, it doesn't. Anything you want to add, Luke? Do you like being British? Or I'm from Yorkshire. I'm Yorkshire.
Yep.
No, you're from Harrogate, right? Does Mark still have the buttickless singlet, and can I buy it? Absolutely. Just DM me, and we can come to some form of an agreement.
Which company is it by?
It's
Buttickless.
So, if you go on eBay and type in "gay male fetish wrestling costume,"
Right.
that's the category.
Is that how you got it?
That's
Yeah.
the category I got it off.
Right.
I thought that you might have like modified an SPD singlet.
No,
Okay.
no, I bought an actual gay bottomless male fetish wrestling
Okay,
singlet.
right. Okay, that was specific.
How much was it?
What?
How much was it?
Like 15 quid?
Right.
Plus £5 delivery. So like
Money
20
well
quid.
spent.
Well, it got me.
You got a lot of followers.
100
off that,
million
yeah.
views from the video, so it was well worth it.
To be fair, that probably translated to some clients for online coaching.
Yeah, and I also
Probably your biggest achievement to date, Mark.
yeah,
Probably.
it's- my biggest achievement to date is squatting 60 kilos in an assless singlet. That actually got me a feature with the BBC, like a 4-minute documentary. Well, I use the term
BBC,
very
you're talking
loosely.
British broadcasting, something.
Yeah,
not
the
the other meaning of that acronym,
A bit
right?
of both.
Right.
Like no, the BBC actually did like a 4-minute mini documentary on me, and the reason they did that was because they saw me on that video, and then they like basically put my name into Google, and then like they obviously saw that like I actually like had achieved some things in powerlifting, and were like, oh, we'll just like to do like a wee mini documentary on you.
That's
and
pretty cool. I
they
remember
actually
watching that.
I'm going to call it the BBC. So no part in my contract, I was told that I'd be paid a certain amount of money. Now we're 3 years on, and I've still had no money. So they owe me money.
How much money do they owe you?
200 quid.
You joking?
No. Genuinely, they said they were going to give me 200 quid for the video, and they never did. They just never gave me it.
I think it'd be quite good to make like a
Now,
little mini documentary.
didn't
before.
Call them out then.
I didn't actually like ever pull them up because I was like, well, one, they're the BBC, and two, like the documentary was actually like really good and like actually got me like a lot of traction, like quite a lot of follows and probably quite a few clients. But I'm calling them out now, so yeah. So
Quite bad form, that of them.
no, that was poor. Next question: who'd win in an arm wrestle?
Me.
No, he never actually said who between.
Well, if it was between me and you, it'd be me.
I don't think you would.
Because I'm.
I don't think you would. I'll arm wrestle you right now.
I'm
Put your
not
money where your
arm-
mouth
no,
is.
I'm not arm wrestling you now.
Shoot your shite bag.
No. Right.
So no, hold on. I'm willing to put cards on the table right now. I'll arm wrestle you right now. See who the winner is. No, I
No.
want to do it. Right, so you forfeit. So I'm the winner.
No, because you're not.
So you forfeit.
Why would I?
Right,
why
arm
would I?
wrestle.
No.
So you forfeit.
Yep.
Okay, I'm the winner. So to answer your question, I would win. Next question. Who is more hideous, Christian or Mason? So these are two of my clients. It was one of my clients.
Right.
Facially Christian, physically Mason.
Well, you've just lost one.
Goodbye.
Right? You've
Goodbye.
gained one as well. So
No,
you've kept one.
No, Chris and Mason, no, they're absolute top boys. I love them. Strongman Con, biggest thing you love about powerlifting? This is actually the first really good question. Biggest thing you love about powerlifting and the biggest thing you hate about powerlifting?
The biggest thing I love,
Yep.
the people. The biggest thing I hate, the people.
Okay. Alex?
Oh, for me. Oh, Jesus, that's put me on the spot. Biggest thing I love, self-improvement, I guess. I'm also going to say the people. Biggest thing I hate. Jesus, that's a tough one. I've not really thought about it. I don't know. Niggles, injuries. Not that I've had any bad injuries, but nails,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, we've all been quite lucky with stuff, haven't we? Biggest thing you love about powerlifting? I mean, it's hard to kind of put, like, this is what I love about powerlifting. Like, this is the single thing I love. I think, I mean, my answer would be that everything I've got to show for my life is a direct result of powerlifting. Like, all my friends, best friends, my girlfriend, I'm really lucky with my income is through powerlifting. All my experiences are powerlifting. So I think probably it's the thing I love about it is that it's actually given me a life, you know. And the biggest thing I hate, I mean, again, there's nothing that I would like absolutely hate that. A lot of people probably annoy me with him powerlifting, but like it's quite easy to just ignore that. I think probably if I had to choose the thing I hate about powerlifting is probably the fact that there's too many federations, too many classes. I think that, in my opinion, we should just have two federations. You know, one tested and one non-tested federation, and everyone competes in those two federations.
You know what? That would be the most ideal situation.
Obviously, that's not realistic.
It's not realistic, and as well, like, if there's anyone out there who can do it, they're not doing it. Do you know what I mean? No one's actually taking steps to make that happen.
Yeah, I just think that the problem is that you know, and it's not taking anything away from anybody, and you know, I'm very pro people doing what makes them happy and whatnot, but I just think that people being champions in certain disciplines within the sport takes away from the people that are actually the champions in the sport, you know. And it's like the truth is that the only people that actually like are impressed by people that are champions but aren't champions are people that don't actually know what powerlifting really is.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the only way powerlifting is truly going to actually grow is people that not know what it is start to know what it is, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what kind of maybe takes it away. But I mean, again, you know, if someone, I'm also well aware that, like, example, you know, you have some gyms that are like this federation only, and if someone's exposed to that from the get-go and they don't know anything else, you know, they might only, you know, like you know, I competed in a federation before the IPF because that's the federation I was told to compete in.
Right, which one was it? BDFPA.
And it's like in my first comp, I think I broke unofficially like 3 world records in the squat, deadlift, total, and I was like, it kind of clicked then. I was kind of like, that's quite cool, I broke world records, but like I also watched Eric Lillibridge and Pete Rubish, and you know, I thought they had world records, and like their world records are like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I think my first total, I think I squatted 240 at like bare knees at 18, benched 140 and pulled 280, and like that was like 3 world records. And I was like, well, that makes no sense because Eric Lillibridge deadlifts 400. Now I wasn't aware that, because I just got told the BDFP is where you compete, so I just thought that's where everyone competed.
And are there BDFPA only gyms?
Yes.
Is that the case?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like, I suppose it is to a degree. So then I started kind of researching, and I was like, oh, like my lifts like aren't even British records in the IPF affiliation. I was like, so, well, I'm going to compete there because, like, why would I waste my time in a federation where the people aren't as good? It just doesn't make sense. You know, like that's just, so, you know, and so like that's, but unfortunately not everyone has that attitude, but that's also totally acceptable because I'm well aware that some people, like, you know, it literally is just like a hobby. Like they just, like, you know, they have so many things going on, and like they just like literally like powerlifting, they just quite enjoy competing. And in that sense, why wouldn't you want to compete with your pals who compete in the BADFPA? So I can see both sides to the thing, but I think from a competitive standpoint, I would say there should be 2 federations, and from a non-competitive standpoint, I actually can totally get behind people going, well, I want to compete with my pals because, you know, this is a hobby to me. Like, for example, like, you know, would anyone have any like problems with this person playing in this 5-a-side team in this league, you know, but this league isn't as competitive as this league? Like, no one would care because it's like you're playing with your pals. Like, who cares? It's a 5-a-side game of football. So I can completely accept both sides of the coin to that.
So I mean, it would probably help if people stopped. If people, once they know where they are in terms of like, I've got this world record, I've got that world record, but it's not like legitimate.
Uh-huh.
It would probably help if they were less deluded and
yes,
But I mean, once they know the reality, they should probably accept the reality. That would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose that's maybe more it. Question for you, Luke. What's your go-to stretch or movement? So your go-to stretch or movement or both to kind of keep your hips and lower back from getting tight. Thank you. So he's the first person that's been polite.
I think probably for hips and lower back, the one that you showed me, hip traction. So get quite a heavy band, tie it around something that won't fly towards you when you pull your body away. So you tie it around your ankle and then drag yourself away from it so that the band tensions, obviously. And then I lay there for about a minute and it basically just like pulls your hip out of the socket. Really like really helpful for your lower back. That
and the McGill Big Three are the things.
Oh yeah,
and you know, the thing that I've always found is that, and now I'm not a physiotherapist or anything to do with that, and I'm slightly ignorant to the subject, but I used to stretch my hip flexors all the time, and after stretching them, it'd be like heaven. I felt great, and then I go to sleep and I wake up next morning and they're tight again. And what I learned from Scott University is that it's not about stretching hip flexors; it's about improving the coordination of your glutes. Because they run through the same nerve pathway, I think, and that if your glutes aren't working, your hip flexors get overly tight. So it's about, and I might have completely butchered that, but what I've found is that as the more like lateral hip work I've done, and the better coordination my glutes become, the less tight my hip flexors are, even if I don't stretch them. So that's the kind of things that I've found.
And what type of problems do you experience through having tight hip flexors?
Just sore back. And by sore back, I don't mean like crippling sore back. I just mean like, my back's really tight today. It feels like shit. And then kind of, I get quite sore hips, but again, like once you kind of get moving, they tend to not be too bad. But that's kind of two main culprits. But it's always very, very manageable.
I think, to be fair, I think my injury was more postural than it was.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So that's why I think, like Mark said, the McGill Big Threes probably helped me quite a lot in that regard, because I am very kind of lardotic.
Yeah. Next one, who would win a 100-metre race between Mark and Luke?
Me. You wouldn't.
I would.
Mark, we went through this before the podcast, right? I am extremely explosive.
You're not explosive.
And I am the picture of an athlete.
You're not. First
Right.
of all...
So you obviously you both obviously did some athletics in school, or you definitely did, didn't you? Right. What was your 100-metre time?
11 something.
That is such a lie. See, this is you really piss me off when you do stuff like this. You just make statements with no backup at all.
Mark,
you climbed up a rock. Just shut up.
What was yours?
I didn't do it. You don't do that in Glasgow.
Mate, tell me what you do instead in Glasgow.
Stab people.
Football, boxing. I did football and boxing, and
Okay.
I did cross country running with my boxing, so it was acceptable.
You see, endurance
And
athlete, not a power athlete like
I done
me.
a 5 at 16 years old. I done a 5k, which is 3.2 miles in 17 minutes and 30 seconds.
That's kind of part of boxing training, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like your long distance running.
Yeah.
So
But no, we don't, do 100-metre sprints and time it. But I think now I honestly think that I would beat you. But I also think that there's a strong possibility neither would even make it to the finish line.
it just turned into an
meters.
oil wrestle, wouldn't
What?
it?
What is
Sweaty
the
oil
creature that walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? Your mum. Moving on. Is regularly squatting and deadlifting 300 plus more taxing?
Yes.
For me, I mean, the truth is that I've found that the stronger I've gotten, the less I've been able to do. One thing I always got taught and always learned was that the stronger you get, the harder it is to progress, and the harder it's to progress, the more volume you need to do. And then as a 120 lifter, for me, when I was a 120 lifter, that was so true. Whenever I hit a plateau, all I need to do was increase workload, in frequency or volume or both, and I'd get stronger. Then as I moved up to be a 120 plus lifter, and my total went above 900, I found that my ability to actually handle the volume significantly decreased. So I would say that, for example, me, on the Monday I would be doing 322.5 kilos for 4. And then on the Tuesday, I'd be doing 320 kilos or 317.5 kilos for deadlifts for 4. And I just feel that, for the rest of the week, I probably didn't have that much ability to do that much. But I think that people can also go the other way and do too little. So I think there's a fine line. But I'd say everyone's different. Like, for example, like I handle deadlift volume much better than I handle squat volume, which is quite weird. But like bench, I could bench a lot, but I'm also not very good at it and strong. So that's also maybe why. But that's kind of my experience.
Yeah, sorry, before you answer, Luke, I'd kind of agree with that. And if you're liking it to tuning up a car,
yeah.
For example, you can tune up a car to make it go very, very fast, but it's, let's say if it were impossible to replace all the parts which deal with the stress, it's going to start to break down more and more the faster it gets, or the more you drive it, I guess, at those high performance speeds.
Yeah.
I guess that's what you could liken it to.
How many chins does Luke have? I'm going to answer this. Less than you. Next one. My bench press sucks ass. Tips for building a stronger bench. Bench more. Do the competition movement frequently. Increase volume over time. And the number one thing is just getting bigger, gaining muscle. And then last question before I need to shoot off to my extracurricular activity.
Prostitution.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Well, living down here is fucking expensive, mate. Go-to accessory for each lift. For me, I don't really have one. If I was to squat, I would do my variation for that would be a direct variation to the movement. So like a high bar squat, a safety squat bar squat. I probably would keep it as one of those two. And then, I mean, it's all about, for me, it's like the level of importance. So like, the number one importance would be your competition squat. Then number two would be a direct variation, and then number three could be something like a lunge or a leg press or a leg extension or a leg curl. So depending on what phase of training you're in, you might be doing all three, you might be doing one of the three, you might be doing two of the three. But I mean, I don't actually have a direct, this accessory is what makes me so much stronger in that lift. Bench, again, I mean, honestly, I just bench, like really just bench, like. And deadlift, I do actually have one. I always find when I do pendlay rows, like dead stop pendlay rows, I always find my deadlift goes better when I do them. I just always find that. Like I actually have found that when I deadlift once a week and then in the next day do a pendlay row, I perform better at my deadlift than when I deadlift twice a week. And maybe that's just because fatigue levels are lower overall. Yeah. But that's for me. But yeah, so I'm gonna duck off.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Mark.
No, thanks very much, mate.
I know you've got to shoot.
Yeah,
but you made it entertaining, and hopefully Luke and I can manage on our own now.
Right, thanks very much.
It'd be quite good to get him on as like a host permanently, because I think our ratings and viewership would go through the roof.
Right. Goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye. Love you all.
Catch you later, pal.
No, cheers, big man. I'll see you soon, mate.
Okay, so I guess
now this is where the normal.
Yeah, this is where it gets a bit more mundane, but a bit more serious. Okay, mate. So let's talk about the shed and how that's going. Do you want to try and get more? Shall we try and get more central on the thing? As long as we don't knock anything off doing that. Let's talk about the shed and how that's going. How long have you had that open for now?
So in the new building, it's been open since September last year. It's going really well, mate. I mean, we're in the older shed before. I think we started in there, started 2018. It's going well. It's not finished yet, but it probably will be soon. But we've got a lot of good lifters down there now. Right. We've got a strong group of guys and girls, and quite a lot of up and coming people as well. So. No, it's going well. That's what you want, isn't it? Getting juniors up through the ranks and stuff like that. Is that what you mean, or just everything, mate. We've got Joe, who's 34, getting a lot better. We've got a few young people as well coming through, about 15, 16, 17, who are fucking strong. Right. One of the lads, Connor, comes across with his dad Frank. He pull 500 pounds for a double. He's 15.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a lot stronger than I was anyway. At that age.
Is he built like a deadlifter? Or would you say he's just a
strong young lad, mate? I
Right,
think he's about 100 kilos as well. He's 15
Right,
years old.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's a
Could be
big
the
boy.
Next Luke Richardson.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Yeah. So is it like an IPF affiliated club, stuff like that? Do you have? Because I know some gyms are. Is that?
No,
not
I don't really give
a
don't really
goal
give a
of yours?
fuck, mate. I think it's just kind of happened that the majority of us are IPF lifters because that's how we all met. That's how we all met, and that's how we all ended up training there. However, we do have guys, training in the BPU who are training for them comps, GPC, and obviously with me going into strongman, there's going to be no qualms with anything like
of course,
anything like that.
When you say it like that, it makes a lot more sense. It doesn't really benefit you at all to have a IPF affiliated club. It wouldn't make any real.
No, it's a
real
powerlifting
difference,
gym.
would it?
Yeah. So it's kind of open doors to everyone. We've got it's just a place where people come down and try to get as strong as they can and work as hard as they can.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't matter what fed or any of that bullshit, or if you take stuff or you don't. It doesn't matter.
I certainly enjoy being able to come down there, as and when I need to. I think I've only trained there twice, but
Yeah.
it's good that the door's open. So, like, when you do eventually transfer over to strongman, as we've discussed, are you gonna start to kit the strength shed out with maybe some strongman stuff, or do you?
Oh, definitely, mate.
Outside and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's quite a big concrete space outside, like you've seen. So if ever need to do any kind of like moving events, like yokes or tires or kegs, just general moving events, be easy enough to do it out there. And then obviously, it seems I've been trying to get a bit more clued up on it, to be honest. But it seems that strongman is quite similar to kind of powerlifting in the way that they just kind of train in their off season. Anyway, look at Thor; he's basically a powerlifter, isn't he? Obviously with the log press and stuff like that being the exception and still having to move with heavy stuff, but he got up to like squatting 1,000 pounds, didn't he? In his off season, guy's a fucking monster.
Yeah, realistically, I mean, I guess strongman is. I guess loads of people are going to disagree with me here, but strongman is essentially powerlifting plus some overheads in the off season for your static strength, maybe a bit less squat, and then obviously when you get in maybe closer to the actual event, you want to be doing more events, don't you?
Yeah.
And then again, I suppose you've got your Atlas stones, which you have to train them properly.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the same as any kind of strength sport, anywhere. As you get close, you need to be more specific. Yeah. So if you've got events that you need to train, I suppose you just get really good at training them. But I've noticed that Hicksy started training for powerlifting, it seems, anyway. So that'll be quite exciting to see what he does, because he's not got a weak link in any of his free lifts. So I think, could see him go potentially well above 1,100.
I think, above, because if you think about it, he did a 400 kilo SSB squat. I don't know about you, but I find SSB so much harder.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who's probably built to be all right with safety squat bar, it is tough. It just feels like it's trying to crush you all the time, doesn't it? But my safety squat bar is pretty good just due to my squat style. Yeah. Quite upright, quite close, quad dominant. So I find safety squat bar quite easy. But a load 400 kilos up on that and just squat it when you're in preparation for a strongman competition is absolutely ludicrous.
It's mental. So what do you think he could squat like with, obviously he's going to be wearing wraps in the Federation deals probably.
Yeah.
What do you reckon he could squat?
440?
Yeah. I'd say easy.
Yeah.
Well, not easy, but around there, maybe 450. That'd be pretty cool. And he's probably got like
280 bench.
280 bench. Yeah. And we've seen him deadlift 405. So let's say he goes a bit further, 410 to make that conservative. Doing maths. Kind of almost live on the podcast. I'm going to get it wrong, but 400, so you get 800, 850 with his squat and deadlift.
1125, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
1125 if he pulls 405, but if he pulls 410, 1130.
Yeah,
I think
that'll be
serious shit. Well, it's Andrei Malanchev, 1140. Yeah, world record total. Yeah,
I'd like to see that because I've become somewhat of a fan of Graham's. Like recently.
Oh no, he's awesome, mate. Yeah,
So
he's awesome.
He's a good guy as well.
Yeah.
did that interview with him, and everything was sorted really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And I'd quite like to get him on the podcast as well, actually. So if you're listening, Graham, hopefully we can sort out a day. I will come over to Markham and we'll set up. Yeah, so, okay, let's talk about what the type of stuff you do with gym. I know we kind of have been over this a little bit recently, in the last podcast, sorry. But, like, what do you find really interesting about working with him?
With Jimmy, I mean, I'm not someone I'd say is I'm not a hands-on client. I'll just be left myself, just give me the work, do you know what I mean? But I think with Jimmy, what's the thing that surprised me the most? I mean, maybe just the fact that I've done so much to get to kind of this point. I think a lot of people maybe would have taken it quite a lot more easier on me as I was getting a bit stronger, but if anything, it got harder, do you know what I mean, in terms of volume and everything else. And I think, we've tweaked some things now. I think I'm kind of getting to that strength level where stuff has got to change maybe a little bit. Like, I'm only squatting, I'm only competition squatting once a week now. Which is, I was squatting, I was doing a competition squat style, whatever you may call it, twice a week before, fucking high volume, I was doing 7 sets of 4,
wow,
340 and stuff like that, really pushing the boat, mate. But I think now it's maybe time to start dialing things back, as I start to go kind of up towards 1050.
Yeah.
It's putting my body under, a lot of stress. But yeah, we kind of kept the same training format from day one to 1010.5, never changed, which I think is quite interesting.
Yeah, and obviously he's monitoring your volume, monitoring stuff like that. And speaking of monitoring stuff, I've noticed on the RTS site and stuff, because that's kind of the training I do as well. Try to learn more about it. They have ways of monitoring your fatigue levels, like heart rate variability and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. Does he do that with you?
I think that's kind of up to the person to do that. I don't do it personally, and I'll tell you for why. Because I think it's called track. I think on the RTS thing, that's what it's called. It's called track. So basically, that's like a auto regulator to say if you're not as fatigued as you should be, add a set, or if you're too fatigued, take away a set. And I think for me, I don't like to think that if I was too fatigued, I'd take away a set. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. I mean, I could be right or wrong for that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe when my body's telling me to take my foot off the gas a bit, I should. But to me, I kind of just like to do what the plan is to the absolute T. I don't like there to be any sort of variation in that because of something like that. Do you know what I mean?
So it's almost like you would imagine it to be super. How do I say it? Super planned out and super things being really transient in terms of the change day to day. But what I'm surprised to hear from what you just said, that it's not really your benefit really is just having a good coach and just having a plan and then just sticking to it and doing it almost like a soldier would when he gets his orders type.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's cleared up a couple of things for me because I would have imagined it to be way more complex. But is he the guy who recommended the hot cold stuff?
No, I mean, I've kind of taken all that on myself. I mean, I do hot cold every day.
Right.
Every day. Along with, physio every week, stretching every day. There's really no ends of what I'll do in terms of recovery.
Okay, let's. If anyone wants to start doing hot cold, what do you do personally? What does a session involve? How do you do it?
So, I'm lucky enough that my dad bought himself a hot tub for his 40th birthday. So I've got a hot tub in the garden. So I'll literally go in the hot tub on training days, 10 minutes in the hot tub, 5 minutes under the hose pipe.
Right.
And I'll do that once before training and once after training.
Right. So the hose pipe kind of creates like a cold shower type environment.
Yeah, it's freezing. Right. So I'll do that once prior to training to kind of kick off any sort of DOMS or fatigue that I'm feeling, which it does, to be fair. Hot cold, for how cheap it can be, you can do it in a shower.
Yeah.
For how cheap it is, the effects of it are if you're not doing it, you should be. If you actually wanted to get somewhat of a performance benefit from something that isn't training, I think everyone should do it. But yeah, luckily I've got the facilities outside. Me and Matt were going to a spa before, where there was a sauna and a punch pool. I just think anything where there's a contrast between really hot and really cold works absolutely fine. But yeah, I do it pre-training, post-training, and on non-training days I do 3 rounds of 10 minutes in the hot tub, 5 minutes under the hose pipe, 3 times.
Okay, I'm asking partially for myself because my physio, Big Lem Steve, shout out Big Lem Steve, he recommended in terms of taking down like long-term inflammation, really cold temperatures. So I've kind of been trying to do it in my shower, but I don't know if I'm being a bit basically a bit of a pussy with it and not going cold enough. Do you think you have to go really, really?
No, you need to. Well, for me, I found if you do it, usually when I end up doing it on a night, it's kind of like midnight.
Right, so it's pretty cold.
So
anyway,
it's already
outside.
cold outside, especially with the weather we've had. Not maybe recently now with all the sun, but on nights it's getting 0 degrees, and I'm stood outside under the hose pipe for 5 minutes. It's fucking tough. Do you know what I mean? I think that's how you can kind of measure it. Is that like after the first minute or two you want out.
Okay. Yeah, right. Okay.
That's kind of it. It's the next 3 minutes are a struggle. Like it's not nice. It's miserable. That's how cold it is. Right.
I guess I probably need to stop being as much of a flanker and really get the temperature down. And going back onto your training, the 5 and 6 hour sessions that you mentioned, like, why did it? Why? I trained with you today, and obviously it only took 2 hours for you. Probably took less than 2 hours to be fair. Why are the sessions like? Why did they take so long?
I think before it was kind of like my Thursday. I do a bench only session on a Thursday, and I find that with the bench only stuff, you can just fly through it. In terms of actual like fatigue, in terms of like being out of breath and like just feeling tired, you don't really get that with bench. Well, I don't anyway. No. But when you've come off a hard squat set, you fucking know you've come off a hard squat set. Do you know what I mean? So.
It probably takes you a while to work up to your working weights as well. It's not like you've got 1 or 2 warm-ups like a lifter who can squat 150 can or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I think on my Monday and Tuesday days, which are my heavy comp days, squat, bench, and then deadlift on Tuesday, with all the accessories in between, I think the reason it was taking so long is one, just the amount of volume. When I was pushing the boat out a bit, like I say on squats, I was doing 7 working sets, all at 340 kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So that takes time in itself. Then straight after that, I've had 7 sets on bench, all at heavy weights for me anyway, maybe like 190 around there. And then you have your pressing. I had a pressing accessory, which is always. I think the problem is that my accessories were always really specific and really kind of almost as close to as the comp movements as you could get. But with that comes like what's going to be harder, doing a lying hamstring curl or doing a stiff leg deadlift.
Of course, yeah.
So unfortunately or fortunately, it's kind of like all my accessories were also bad, if not worse than comp movements, because they were my weaknesses. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to make an active effort to speed up a bit now. Yeah. I think.
What rest period does gym prescribe? Like,
don't really get rest periods prescribed, mate. Yeah, just when you're ready. But like I say, I'm trying to make an effort of going. Not when just try to speed things up, because it's quite easy when you're down the shed, and you're with all lads to maybe get a bit carried away.
Listening to Mark's stories, Jesus Christ. I was trying to get a set done today, but I was thinking, that's actually a really good story.
Get a bit carried away and maybe chat a bit too much shit, and then by the time you know it, you've rested for like 25 minutes, and you're like, fuck's sake, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But, I was talking to Sam Bollins when we did the podcast last time, and he was saying, he didn't say this on the podcast, but he gets prescribed 8-minute rest periods in between his sets by Sebastian Oreb.
Right.
And that's like to just get the maximum PCR resynthesis, like get full resynthesis every single set. And this is even with his volume stuff. And I was like, wow, I could not rest for 8 minutes in between. Probably sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But like After every main working set, that's crazy.
I think with squats and deadlifts, 8 minutes would be a bare minimum for me.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think. I think when I was doing my heavy stuff leading up to Europe, so I was, squatting like 385, 387 in the gym. I'm probably taking 10, 15.
Right. And it's just like a comp, to be fair, so it makes a lot of sense. And the way Sam was describing it also makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, it just takes a while.
I wouldn't really go against anything that Australian strength coach has to say either. To be fair, yeah, nice. Well, look at what he's done with 4, and look at how well Sam's doing as well. Fucking hell.
I've got to compete against him.
I know. Are you both going for 1,000? Yeah.
That was my goal that I set out at the start of the year, and that's what I want to chase at the end of the day. So it's a good 20 odd weeks away. I mean, I've got a comp in 7 weeks, the WPC Euros first, and then it'll be however long it is after that. It's towards the end of September, I believe, 21st of September or something. So time to improve before then. Time to learn wraps as well again. Get the most out of them, because obviously the difference between the wraps is significant. Do you know what I mean? So
that'd be cool to see 2 British guys potentially go 1,000 in the same comp as well. Yeah. Well, it hasn't been done before.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I hope we both do it, but I hope I do a little bit more.
Obviously.
Yeah. But yeah. I was gonna ask. That's completely thrown me off there. But so what do you think about like the current state of lifters in the UK? Who do you think we should be kind of looking out for? I guess in all the feds and all the categories and stuff. Who's kind of impressing you at the moment?
In terms of British powerlifting, who's impressing me in Britain? I mean, Tom Martin always impresses me. Yeah. I think, if you're a British powerlifter and you don't know who Tom Martin is, then you're kind of a bit. You're not a British powerlifter. Yeah, exactly. So Tom is always impressive. Other guys, obviously yourself, Sam. Just I like watching big lifts. I'm not actually someone who's really big on social media in terms of actually being involved in powerlifting, just because I can't be arsed. So in terms of up and coming people out with my little circle or the people I follow, I don't really know, to be honest, mate.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not really a follower of the sport in Britain as such, to be fair. But, just you go to comps, and you see kind of the standards always getting a little bit higher in terms of the actual population. Obviously, there's going to be a few outliers everywhere you go, but I just like seeing really big lifts. So most of the people I follow are people who are kind of already at that stage. Yeah, to be honest,
because I always think this now. Like the standard in the UK has just gone crazy. Like probably since like you started and I started. I guess we started at a similar time.
Yeah.
What were you like 2015?
First comp was 2016, but I started powerlifting in like 2015. Yeah.
So I was 2014, so we both kind of came on the scene at the same time. But the standard since then, it's crazy. Like I was just looking on social media the other day, and people don't even talk about. Like he's not competed yet, but I might get his name wrong here. Reese Williams, I think he's called.
Right.
Reese. No, he's not called Reese Williams. What am I talking about? His name is Reese Fullwood. It might be Fullerwood. I don't know if his name is Reese Fullwood. I think that might be a humorous take on it. But he squatted like 385 the other day, and he's not even competed yet.
Fucking hell.
And guys like that, Jimbo Cooper, the guy.
Yeah. Big bench kid,
like 250. He's squatting. Is it 360 quite easily?
He's fucking jacked as well, isn't
he? Yeah, he's like, it's almost like at the young age he's like almost maxed out his frame.
Yeah.
Obviously, like if he was a bit leaner, it'd look different. But he's all his, his limbs are full in terms of muscle and whatnot. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes in terms of progress in the next few years.
Yeah.
But I think it's something we could talk about all day. And there are some IPF guys. Like that I didn't know about. There was a guy who pulled something like 385, 375 in the gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's only light sumo puller. You might know him. It was Adam Riman, who Riman, who reposted him. I didn't even know about him, and he's only like, I'm sure he's only like 90.
Is he a British kid?
British, yeah.
Right.
I think he trains at, what's that gym down south that's kind of just PR gym, or is it PR gym? Something like that?
Oh, Josh Edwards.
PB gym.
Josh Edwards.
I think it might be him, yeah.
105, 120 guy, yeah. He pulled 375, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's a strong kid.
That was on an IPF bar, wasn't it?
Yeah, will have been. I mean, I think Josh Edwards he actually took Tom Martin's 105 British record at the British Championships last year.
Wow.
Yeah,
right.
so.
And I didn't even know about the guy. That's
yeah,
what I mean.
I think it was 341 or something like that, and it was a record that obviously Tom had held when he was lifting in the IPF. I think his 93 kilo record was actually. I'm not sure the ins and outs.
50, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think he pulled more 93. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but no, I think Josh took that at the British Championships last year. So
he's one to look out for.
Yeah, definitely.
And then obviously on the ladies' side of things, you've got a lot of girls now in the IPF or not deadlifting over 200.
Yeah,
like that's become a number now, which is still mighty impressive, but it's become like almost like the standards changed. You know what I mean? Now you're really looking for maybe a 220 is going to be the next milestone that becomes the old 200.
Yeah, I mean, I find it amazing. I know I'm not British, but watching, Steffi Cohen and Daniela Mello and what's the big squatter called? The under 84 kilo lifter.
I know who you mean. She's only young as well.
Yeah, she's like putting up like 260 or something like that. It's in the USAPL.
When she squats 220 or 500 pounds or whatever, she makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm 125 kilos, and that's how easy I find it.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, to be fair. I think it's just good to see sport becoming a bit more popular. Really, it may not end up being as popular on the same scale as strongman in terms of kind of viewer friendly to the public, and obviously strongman's got a huge platform for that, but in terms of the actual sport and the way it's growing and the kind of talent that's coming through, it's just really fucking good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's tough. Like from my perspective, it's quite tough to come through because like every time you think you're getting somewhere, the standard goes up,
increases.
Whereas you're kind of already at the top in the UK. So
yeah,
it's probably not quite the same for you, but yeah, it's a wonderful thing to see the sport becoming a bit more legitimate in the UK and a bit more impressive in the UK compared to the other nations in the world, which is good when you're running the mag as well, because you're featuring cool people.
No, exactly. Well, I think it was Marcos, the guy who runs Big Dogs, put up a post prior to when Britain kind of had no 1,000 kilo totals, and I think you're knocking on I think there's 3 already now, and there's me, Sam, and Tom.
Yep.
And then you're looking at quite a handful of guys who are going to be capable of doing it. I mean, like I say, I only really follow absolute strength, but Britain will have gone from having none to maybe being having the third most in the world, behind maybe like Australia, USA, and Russia. They seem to be quite big countries for powerlifting at the moment. So for a little country like ours, it's not bad going.
No, it's we're getting up there.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask you, what would like a typical day be like for you now? If you went from like when you get up, eating your meals, doing your hot cold, etc., to when you train, to when you go to bed and stuff. What does it kind of take to be where you're at now? What are you doing?
So in terms of a training day when I'm not working, I don't often work on my main training days just because I think it's best that I just focus on the training session. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I've got to make money, and I make enough to kind of be self-sufficient. But if it's, let's say it's a Monday, I'll get up, and from the second I get up on a morning, it's just training. Yep. I've got to have a good session later, so that means I'm up, I'm eating. I'll before the gym, I'll put away 4,000 calories, I'd say, and I go train about 5 o'clock, and I probably stop eating about 3:30, 4. So I put away probably about 4,000 calories before then. I've done my hot cold. I've started stretching after my sessions now.
Okay.
And on a night, I've got all my bands and stuff at home.
You do like a bit of a dynamic stretching session before you train, don't you?
Yeah. So I do probably about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour of kind of my warming up, doing my corrective exercises and stuff like that. But then I've got my band stuff to do, my more focused stretching at home. So yeah, I'll get up, eat my breakfast, which is usually, 200 grams of porridge, bananas, like protein shakes, gainer shakes. And then before the gym, it's usually quite clean. I'll have steak and rice, 2 meals, both steak and rice with orange juice, probably with some more protein shakes and gainers thrown in there. Before the gym, I'll have Skittles and a Monster. Go to the gym, obviously take your normal stuff like your Lucozade and stuff like that, so that you're still replenishing any kind of fluids lost. Then probably about halfway through my session, I'll have another gainer, so that I'm just always fueling. And then on a night, I eat well all day, and then on a night I'll get a pizza or something easy like that. There's a good deal on at Pizza Hut at the moment, so I'm just going there pretty much every day getting one of them. It's quite an easy way to put like 1,500 calories away with little to no effort.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously I've done my hot cold before, go to my session, do my session, come home, eat, do my hot cold again, do my stretches, go to bed, sleep 8 hours, get up, do the same thing.
Right.
So it completely consumes me. It's my life.
Absolutely. And I think anyone who can like quickly tot calories up in the head there know that you're on that's a lot of calories. What you've just said is a lot.
Yeah,
how many do you reckon?
6 is a bare minimum.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
With what you've just said. And I was going to ask about sleep, but you're getting enough there?
Yeah, I mean at least 8. At least. Never less. I never sleep less than 8 hours. Maybe on weekends upwards towards kind of 9, 10 if I go to bed early enough. Yeah. So it is literally eating and sleeping and just breathing it. Do you know what I mean? It's no stone left unturned. Just 100% committed to being the best powerlifter which I can be, which I'm quite fortunate to be able to do. I know there's a lot of people who are in the position to do that. I think it's getting to a bit of a crunch point, to be honest, with me trying to get this heavy and get this strong. I think I'm maybe burning out a bit more than I'm bringing in terms of finance. But that's where kind of strongman's going to come in. I think. I know. Obviously, I'm not going to make any. I think it's hard to not make any claims when you're not in a sport, because I know it can come across as disrespect to maybe the top strongman guys who are about at the moment doing all that stuff. But if I do that, I want to take it as far as I can. And that means one thing, doesn't it? It means winning World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And kind of building a name for myself and building a brand around myself where I can live a really nice life doing what I want to do, which has always been, my dream really, just to do what I want to do and try and make a lot of money whilst I'm doing it.
Yeah, like I'm surprised that more people don't have that attitude, to be honest. Like people who I think kind of settle a bit too early. Yeah. Rather than having any type of dream, like, okay, that's a very generalized statement, but I guess what I'm saying is I'm definitely in support of your kind of mantra there, whereby you're saying I want to become a professional at what I love. Yeah. I definitely go along with that. And I think if anyone's going to do it realistically, you are. And I think from what you've told me there, you are actually ticking all the boxes. You're genuinely ticking all the boxes. There's nothing that you're really leaving out. It's not like you're saying, well, I do all this eating and then I get like 4 hours of sleep. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's everything's pro powerlifting at the moment. And then, like I say, all I'm doing now is building kind of just this strength base that is going to carry over into strongman. I mean, that's always what I wanted to do, was strongman. The first strength gym I trained in was a strongman gym. Yeah. It wasn't any strongman gym. It was a strongman gym where I was seeing people like Eddie Hall and Terry Hollands training with Benny Magnuson on the regular every week in, week out. So, I've always wanted to imitate them guys, take it as far as they've taken it, and look at what's happened to strongman. Do you know what I mean? I help out at the shows, and I think if I stand there at the shows, which I do, and I think I can be here, so why wouldn't I be? There's 12,000 people all out there going absolutely crazy, and it's a show. I think that's the problem with maybe something that the IPF could work on, is that it's just kind of really outdated. It's not fun. Yeah, it's not fun. Nothing's really out there in terms of putting on a show and making it kind of like audience friendly. It's all just about, do you know what I mean? It's just
about people hitting the numbers, everything
yeah,
being organised.
yeah, exactly. Which is fine, but you can do that whilst also making a really good go of making it fun and exciting for people to come and watch. But I think what Darren and Colin Bryce of Giants Live have done with Strongman is, well, that's the step that powerlifting needs to take to me.
Yeah.
But I probably, unfortunately, won't be here when they do. In powerlifting, anyway.
Yeah, I thought you'd be dead.
No. Well,
whoa.
Unless I've peaked hideousness to that point, I'm not. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've never been to, like, a big IPF comp, and to be fair, it'd be probably quite nice to go to one, just to experience it. And I've not been to anything like Big Dogs either, but... so I don't know what they're doing there, or Pro Raw even. Maybe some of the lads who've been can tell me. But what do you think? What do you think they could probably do in powerlifting to make it a bit more interesting?
I don't know. I quite like what Kirill Sarachev's doing with the WRPF. Yeah, I mean, just switching it up a bit, trying to make it. I mean, I'm not saying that there should be fireworks and fucking bands and all this shit, but in Britain it seems to be. And I'm not saying everyone needs to be listening to Slipknot at fucking full blast whilst they're going out lifting, but just make it a bit more interesting, please. Do you know what I mean? Like, and again, I'm not slating it, but going to. I totaled 1,000.5 at Moulton College and it's silent. Yeah. Well, it's not because everyone's really getting behind me because of what I'm doing, but you see, it's a bit unfortunate for the people perhaps who don't generate maybe the same level of excitement to the audience as I do. I mean, whenever I lift in this country, I get a benefit out of lifting in front of the crowd that's there because it is, to be fair, a really good atmosphere. It's lit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When I squatted 400, the room was loud as fuck, and it was people, so it meant more. Same when I did when I did the 1,000 in England, the first time I totaled over 1,000, the room was electric, but it was only really electric for me. Yeah. And I think that's the problem. Yeah. Is that not everyone is getting that same level of like maybe arousal at comps that they could be getting.
I mean, on the other side of things, in the untested feds, obviously GPC, BPU. For example, I'll give you Tattooed and Strong.
Yeah. It looks mega there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an expo. It's held in a tattoo exhibition. And obviously there, like the little things they've done is you get to pick your own music.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so that's something.
No, yeah, definitely, yeah.
And also, like, they get people like Andy Kearney doing the MC and stuff like that. I mean, I'm probably not thinking of everything they do there, but it's little things like that. I mean, Konstantin Konstantinovs suggested about the RPF, not the RPF, WRPF, when he, obviously before he died, he was saying that they should have, like, scantily clad women, like...
Right. Holding up the numbers,
yeah. And I was like, yeah, good idea, mate. Yeah. So if the powers that be in the BPU or GPC want to do that, we'd both welcome that, I'm sure. But no, you're right, mate. Like if people could just get their heads together, maybe. And
I mean that's not everyone. I mean we've got the Northwest are doing a lot. I think Dean Bowering down south, he put on the senior men's British Championships last year that I went down to and handled Mark at. And that comp was absolutely flawless. It was ace. Right. It was ran perfectly, but there was just this feeling of like excitement about just seeing the lifting. Just a bit of music, the live stream, the commentary, the MCs, all that stuff. It was all just really, really enthusiastic, which I think, and the Northwest do a good job of it as well. Obviously with Joe Whiteley. I think she couldn't do more for powerlifting if she tried, to be honest.
I don't know if she currently runs the Northwest one.
I think she used to. Yeah, she definitely used to, but I think she's doing more kind of is she the open powerlifting representative for GB now?
I honestly have no idea. Yeah. I know Jem works on open powerlifting. Right. Obviously, I don't know all the people in the IPF or GBPF, so I couldn't really comment. But. Yeah, yeah, obviously there's going to be discrepancy up and down the country.
Yeah, of course.
Like between the comps and stuff, but I think on the whole it's getting better. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think we'll wrap it up there, mate.
All right, okay.
I think we're an hour and 4, hour and 5.
All right.
Thank you for inviting me into your house.
No, it's all right. You're more than welcome.
I'm kind of like a nomad when it comes to kind of doing podcasts, because I'm always relying on.
Well, we're in a cupboard last time, so
we pretty much we're in a cupboard at Lift.
Yeah, interpret that as you want.
Yeah, it's a class gym, but I mean.
Oh no, it's brilliant.
That was the only place we had to do it, and it's a shame we couldn't have Andy on today.
No, yeah, maybe next time
in the future.
Yeah,
we're obviously gonna all meet up hopefully in the future. Are you and Mark going to do any more seminars?
Yeah, we're planning on doing a few more. I think we've got one actually down in Wales at PB Performance.
Nice.
Around
was the gym that I meant before.
Yeah,
you know that
Lawrence Farncombe.
Yeah. So what's the guy is it the guy who did the 375? That's the gym I meant.
Yeah, Josh Edwards. Yeah,
Josh Edwards.
Yeah,
that was the gym.
PB Performance.
Yeah.
So I think we've got one down there coming up. I think around May time.
Right. Okay.
Around May time, and then obviously we've got plans of running them at the shed as well.
Right. And how can people book onto those?
So it's going to be different for each one. I think for the PB Performance one, they'll have to get in contact with the relevant people.
Okay.
But I think when we run them at the shed, it'll be kind of getting in contact with us. But if you are interested in anything kind of, and this is for me and Mark, anything coaching, our seminars, any more information or details, just get in touch with us, whether that be by our emails or just by Instagram or whatever kind of social media you happen to have us on.
Yeah, because I must say, even though, like I mentioned to you today, even though I didn't go to your last seminar, actually go to it, I was deadlifting on the platform next to it, and Mark was giving advice about walking out your squat. Now, I've heard loads of different advice about walking out your squat, but he was going through the 3-step walkout, where you get your strong foot and you walk it back, you get your weak foot, you take a step into position, and then you step your strong foot into position and you set. And you know what? Since I started doing that, my squat walkout has felt so much better. So thank you, Mark, for that.
That free bit of advice.
Free bit of advice that everyone else had to pay for. And on that, mate, thank you so much for this.
It's all right. No problem.
Cheers.